Have you ever heard of the Mythical Man-Month?
Yes.
I think this is appropriate in the conversation too,
It
right?
is.
Because the Mythical Man-Month basically it's a mathematical equation apparently, where it's this concept where if you add more people to a problem, or then you'll get to the solution faster.
Yeah, that doesn't happen.
But it's the opposite is true, right? So their mathematics here is if you have 50 developers, right, then you just open up, like if you have 50 and you have 50 more, you just open up 1,200 different channels of different 1,200 new opportunities for failure.
Yes, yeah. So interesting that you brought this up. I was having a conversation with an investment company earlier this week, and the big question they wanted to have answered was how soon will AI allow us to cut software developer headcount? And my answer is probably never. You may get to a point where 5-6 years down the road that corporations don't have to have a whole software IT team anymore, but near term it's not. So with the Mythical Man-Month, throw the AI equation in there as well, is so now you're multiplying that number of points of failure by what?
A million?
by a million. I was saying like by a tenfold or something. Because now you have all these people also using AI, and AI giving you slightly different answers depending on how you prompt it.
Yeah, and also the hallucinations, right? And so I think as an assistant and as a helper guider, just to kind of get the creative juices flowing, it's phenomenal. But to entrust the system to build the system, that's challenging.
It is. I still hesitate. So I got a good Robo story for you.
Yeah, let's hear it.
So I asked my employees to come up with this report. And they put it in a table in Confluence, mainly because I prefer to have all my information in Confluence. But it really needed to be in a spreadsheet. And because the questions I'm going to be asking is, I need sums based on vendor names and sliced by time. And super easy to do if this information was in a database, or not a database, an Excel spreadsheet versus a table or even a database inside a Confluence. However, we have Robo. So I just opened up the Robo chat and I say, sum up this table based on vendor name and dates. For this date range, I want to know how much we sold per this app vendor, and display it to me in another table. And every time I ran it, I get different numbers. It's like, come on, Robo, can't you count? It's like, I'm not did give me a disclaimer that this is a very large table, and that we only used visible rows. So I'm like, well, only the rows visible to me or visible to the page. I don't quite understand. And yeah, it was thousands of rows in this table, but for a spreadsheet, that's not that many.
Something VLOOKUP can do for you very easily.
Exactly. Like I could have done this with a command line script, doing grep and something, and summing it up. Robo was giving me different answers. So I knew one specific answer was, vendor A was at $250,000 for Q1 of this calendar year, and I never got that answer. I got 80, I got 150, I got, it never went over. So I guess by Price is Right rules, Rovo did a very good job. But yeah, it was like, oh, this is ridiculous. And I played with it longer than it would have taken me to download this to Excel and just, put in the formulas.
Google the formulas too.
Yeah.
If you probably would have gotten better results had you said, help me build this in Excel, like, help me, like, here's a file, analyze it for me as an Excel file.
I should have tried that. I didn't think of adding that to my prompt. Basically,
like if you feed the file to like Claude or Jipity,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
It probably could have analyzed it better
Yeah.
for you than had Robo done it.
Yeah,
Which
because
is
it was
interesting.
just a table on a Confluence page.
Yeah.
And I was just saying, summarize this entire table. So I had to add entire table because initially it wasn't doing that. It was only doing like 4 or 5 rows and then saying, yeah, I'm done. It's like, I don't think you understand the term summarize, Robo.
Yeah. But eventually, I think AI will get to the point, like at least staying on the topic of Robo and then merging with our theory of constraint, right? One of the benefits that Atlassian has been yelling from the top of the mountain here has been Robo is going to have that contextual information because it has connectors that connect to your email, to your PowerPoint, to your Excel, right? And theoretically, I can envision a future, at least this is the one that Atlassian sells to us, that you go, hey, Rovo, find me my constraints.
Yeah.
And it, in theory, it's being engineered to help you with just that.
I think eventually it might be able to do that if you're using all the tools it can connect to.
Business is a complicated beast, though. I don't know.
But yeah, there's a lot of offline or manual steps in any process that you really want to work to get rid of. But ultimately, something needs a person to approve something.
Yeah, because like, how do you identify quarrels between coworkers?
Yeah.
Right, because those can be constraints, right? Like if somebody is like intentionally withholding information because they're just mad at their manager, or they know
just
that if
don't like working with this other person. So
or just job security, right? Like a lot of people intentionally make processes complex and hard because it's harder to fire them.
Yeah,
they're the only ones that know how to do it.
I have seen that a lot.
And so, like in the age of AI, I don't know how it. I don't know. In the age of just tools in general, I have them for ApeTech for my main channel. I have member only videos.
Okay.
Because of that membership thing. And so today I did a video about like before you go and get mad at Jira for not working well, check your processes first.
Yeah.
Check your people problems first before you go try to, yell at Jira or maybe you're on Monday and you're like,
I completely agree with that. And very often I say something kind of the reverse of that is before you ask me to implement something in Jira, can we just do this in training? Isn't this just hey, don't do that? It goes back to you go to the doctor and you say your arm hurts when you move it this way, and the doctor says don't move it that way.
You remember the antenna gate from Apple?
No, I'm not sure I do. The antenna gate?
Yeah. So back in the old iPhone 4 days, Apple switched. You probably never had an iPhone, have you?
I've had a iPhone once, but not for phone related purposes.
So it's hard to see because of my screen so dark. But you see that little slit right there?
Okay. Right there? Yeah. That's the antenna.
That's the antenna band. So there's one on the top and there's like one on the bottom.
Okay.
And they're just around the phone, right? You see the 4. Well, their placement of it in the iPhone 4, I believe, was right here where your pinky would rest.
Oh, so you'd be
and so within your palm and then within your other phone, you basically cut off the antenna. So you couldn't make any phone calls. You couldn't receive any. If you're on the middle of a call and you went like this, then you just killed the call. and so you were just like basically sabotaging your phone every time you were just holding it.
Yeah.
Right. And
no, I never ran into that or heard of that before.
Yeah, well, Steve Jobs. Well, here's the controversial topic, right? So Steve Jobs was asked, "Hey, what do you guys plan on doing to fix this?" And Steve Jobs was like, "This is the infamous, is what it is. Just don't hold your phone that way."
Yeah. Cut off your pinky. Yeah.
Ultimately, Apple gave everybody bumpers that just literally went around the edge, so that it was a skin to the metal contact that was killing it.
Okay. Yeah.
And so they're like, well, if you don't make the skin to skin, like then you're fine. So, but it was one of those. It was one of the most infamous lines. You should look it up. Where Steve Jobs was just like, just don't do it that way. I'm not gonna re-engineer my phone because you don't know how to hold.
Phones are already out there. We're already selling them. We're not just. There's better.
That goes back to again that mentality though. Back in the theory of constraints, like those are valid answers that people will be giving you. Like, what's the bottleneck? But you put up with it. You deal with it.
Yeah. It's always been that way. Yeah.
Yeah.